Okay, hello. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. And if you don't celebrate anything and it's just Friday, then Happy Friday. I love Christmas. Christmas is one of my favorite holidays. I love the snow and I love winter and I love that everything is sparkly and you go to the mall and it's just glitter everywhere, which is very silly. Also because like you get to hang out with family and it's the only time that is acceptable to like take 2 weeks and speak to nobody. So, yeah, I guess like this year we don't really get to hang out with family much, but I have my brother staying with us. He's on the couch that way. So I get a little bit of family time. But Christmas is really one of my favorite holidays, and I just really love winter. So I wanted to celebrate Christmas by making something out of this wool fabric that I've had for a little while, and I think that it's just like such a cute, perfect Christmassy plaid with like the green and the red, but it's not like too overstated. Like I have one here that this is a lot. So going for a little more understated. Yeah, so I've been really inspired by the shop Little Woman Atelier, which I have seen a lot of YouTubers like recreating their clothing, so I am not the only one. They have like very cute kind of Victorian inspired-ish silhouettes, but like very like casual, relaxed, and then they're kind of like cottage core so that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. I've sketched something out and I'll just be going ahead and making that. I'm trying to get this whole thing done today so that I can keep moving on my other projects, but I didn't want to pass up Christmas time, so here we are. Alright, so here is my fabric. It's that green and red plaid, and then I've got a sketch of kind of what I want to do, and it's like a shirtwaist top and then some sleeves that are kind of puffy. I haven't decided if I want to do pleats or gathers yet, because I'm not really sure how this fabric will look with pleats. And then this will be the pattern that I'm going to be using. This is the Butterick B6229. I'll be using this for the top of the dress with a different collar and with a different skirt, because the skirt is not quite as voluminous as I would like, and it's also just very long. So I'm mostly going to just be copying this pattern straight as it is, and if you want to see how I copy commercial patterns onto tracing paper so that I don't end up like ruining the pattern paper and not being able to use it again, you can check out my video from Halloween where I made the Halloween Haunt Barbie. It's like another shirtwaist dress, but I use a commercial, I think McCall's pattern for that one, and I go over my whole process on how I trace over those so that I can preserve the original pattern. So I've decided that I want the sleeve to be gathered rather than pleated, and the original pattern has some volume in it already, which is great, but it's more gathered up at the wrist, as you can see by this curve here, than it is at the shoulder, and I would like it to be pretty gathered at the shoulder as well. Let's see if I can find it. This is more the style of sleeve that I'm going for, not quite as dramatic as this, but I want it to be a little bit of a drop sleeve, and I would like it to be like a lot more gathered like it is there. So for this I used the largest size that came with this pattern. That's a size 14. I haven't measured the shoulder yet, but what I'm hoping that will do is drop the shoulder a little bit off because it'll be a little bit too big for me. And then I'm also just drafting my own waistband, which is just gonna like fit my waist, but I'm gonna have the blouse of the larger size, so it should be a lot more voluminous. That's the plan anyways. So what I just did here, it's a good way to see how much gathering there might be in a pattern. You've got your notches to match up here and here, and that's just pretty standard on an armscye. And for reference, the front armscye always gets 1 notch and the back armscye always gets 2 notches. So what I'm doing here is I'm matching up where the underarm seams would go. So the underarm seam always matches up to the side seam, walking that over to that notch, and that matches pretty well. And then I'll just walk this around here, and then whatever space is left from the center notch to wherever this pattern stops is how much it'll get gathered down. And that's because this top notch should always correspond to the shoulder seam on the garment. I want it to be a really poofy sleeve. So what I'm going to do is just slash this all the way and then spread it open like that, and then that should add volume up here, keep the volume pretty consistent at the wrist, because I think I like that one already. I have it going into a wristband that is about 8 inches, because that's something that I can get over my hand without needing a button. And so this is getting gathered down by 2, which I think will look nice already. So I'll just start with that. I went over this really briefly in the Halloween video, but I'll do it a little bit more in depth this time. Basically what you do is you want to create some lines just evenly spread out throughout this. And you want them all to be parallel and kind of preferably parallel to the grain line as well. So I figured out, just based on the pattern, where it's marked for gathering. So the commercial pattern that I'm using has it marked to gather from here to here. So I measured that from the notch up to here, and then did the same on the front, and then I added from there from the gathering notch up to the shoulder seam, and then I want that, I think, probably doubled. So what I want to do then is keep all of my slash marks in between these 2 marks. So the ones that I made here are not relevant. We're just going to ignore those. So that does mean that I need to make a few more marks so that I have enough marks to work with, because you don't want to spread too much in any one mark, otherwise it ends up kind of like lumpy and uneven. Just make sure that you have like a lot of little slashes so that you can spread everything really evenly. And I want to add between around like 5 and 8 inches, I think, because on the bodice part it was about 7.5 inches. This measurement here is about 8.5 inches. So I want to get it to at least double and potentially like 2.5. I think actually I'm going to make even more lines, and that'll just make my life a little easier because I won't have to do a bunch of fractions. Alright, so I've got them marked at 1/2 inch, and I think if I do around 3/4 of an inch for each one. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to just cut all of them. So I've cut it basically all the way to the edge, like that. And you're going to do that for every single one of these marks. And what I like to do while I'm doing it, so that I'm not kind of just destroying the pattern immediately, is I will pin it to some paper so that I kind of have some space for it already. So then I pin one of the strips into place, and then the next one over to it. I said I wanted it 3/4 of an inch away, so mark that on there. Pin this down, and then pin this one down. And you can see how that would then fan this whole thing out. But that's basically the process, and I'm going to do it to all 13 of these little strips. So let's do that. Okay, so then now that we've got this all fanned out like this, we can trace along the top. And then you'll notice that when I'm tracing these, they kind of go jaggedy like this, which would be fine if it was pleats. If you're opening this up so that you can do pleats, then just leave them like that. However, if you're doing gathered, obviously you want it to be kind of smoothed out. So what you do is you kind of go in the halfway point of each of these. And mostly you just kind of want to make it a smooth line. I think actually I will make it a little bit taller because sometimes when you gather stuff up it makes it short for some reason. I guess just because of how it's taking up extra volume in one direction and wants to take up less volume in the other direction. And you can either tape it down or just trace around it. I'm gonna tape it down, I think, just because it makes it a little bit more solid, and then I can look at how these are sitting without the pins in the way. So looking at it from this direction, I don't know if you can tell or not, but this is still looking kind of flat. This is also like a massive pattern now. So that's kind of what happens when you want to gather something a lot, is it becomes really, really large. So just looking at it, it seems like this could probably come in just a little bit so that it's less flat there. And this will be more of that kind of slope, and then also on this side, this could come in a little bit this way. And then from there, I'll just want to measure the notch, like the arm's eye notch, up to the gathering point. I'll just want to mark the new one there so that I'm not gathering to the wrong point when I sew it together. So same for this side. We're gonna match up these arm's eye notches and then go up to the gathering notch on the new line. And it's like pretty close, but might as well mark a new one anyways. Yeah, so I think I can actually cut this out now since it's just kind of half cut out. So this is like a really easy method to alter something just to have more volume, or if you want it to have less volume, you could cut it apart and bolt it together. But yeah, it's probably one of the easiest ways to make alterations, and it's a really easy way to make gathered sleeves if you already have a sleeve pattern that fits you. The only thing you want to make sure is that if you're making a lot of alterations to a sleeve where you want it to be really gathered and you want it to stay kind of like puffed up on the arm without an understructure sleeve or without elastic, you want to make sure this line stays fairly short while this line gets long, because this line here will be your support and you don't want a lot of puffing under your arm that is uncomfortable and looks weird. And then this side will be the pretty puff side. So to make the collar, I don't need a stand at all because it's, I don't know, I just don't want one. I want it to be a pretty flat collar. So all I'm going to do is trace around the neckline edge, and then I will add my own collar. I think I'm going to make like a Peter Pan collar. That'll be cute, I think. I don't know. It'll be something. So I'm just tracing along here. Mark the notch for the shoulder. Mark that notch. Taking the center back as well. And that's it. I want the collar to be probably around 2 inches at the back. Goes around like that. No, I want it to be 1.5 inches. I changed my mind. It's going to be 1.5 inches all the way around. And then just connect those lines. And great, that's the collar pattern. So for the skirt, I'm just going to be doing a full circle skirt, but I'm going to be doing it in 4 panels. So to do that, I've come up with double my waist measurement because I want to have it gathered twice. I'm just going to hold a ruler up to my waist and see where it hits below my knee. It's closer to 25, I think. Okay, so I want it to be 25 inches length. Basically just plug your waist measurement times 2, if you want it gathered times 2, into a circle calculator, and you can just Google a circle calculator. And that will spit out the radius that you need, and the radius is, if anybody remembers from math, that's half your circle diameter, right? So you want to mark your radius. So I said that mine was 9 rounded up, and I'm just going to go with that because it's getting gathered. It doesn't need to be super precise. And then from your radius, you want to mark your length. So that was 25 for me. And then basically all you really do is you do that over and over again until you finish your half circle. And that's it. Let's see, maybe I can do it like this. Are you gonna work? Not super well, but it did work. Oh, but I did it at the wrong length. And then the reason I like these rulers so much, besides just that they're like nice, convenient, easy, you can just stick your pin right in there and then put your pencil at the hole you want and just draw a line like that. I wish they made these bigger, but they don't. So you can go up to like 17 inches doing that. And then that's my skirt pattern. Super easy. Hi, baby.
is this?
Alright, so I've got all my pieces cut out, and right now Baby Bet is sitting on them. Silly girl. But I'm mostly going to just be following the instructions exactly as the printout is for the pattern, like the commercial pattern. So I'm not going to go too much in depth, or really much in depth at all, about my process, since it's pretty straightforward and just already as part of the directions. I also cut out a cute little bow, so that should be really sweet, and I'm just gonna go ahead and sew these as soon as I can get them out from under my cat's butt. You know, I also need the chair to sew. I need everything that's under there. Yeah, but boop, boop, boop. Okay, so I'm putting some pockets in this dress because, you know, what's a dress without pockets? And I've cut 4 layers of this little bean-shaped, kidney-shaped thing. And basically all I did for that was, they tend to usually be kidney-shaped, but I made sure it would fit my phone very comfortably, and that my phone would be able to go in and out. And then I also have it so that originally this was going to end here, but I thought that this opening would be too big and then stuff would fall out, so I made it so it goes up here, and then there's lots of space down here. And then essentially what you do is you put it, this is a skirt layer, right? This is the front, and then this is the side seam. And what you do is you put it right sides together, right? You just stitch it onto the seam there. And then when you have 2 layers of skirt that are like this, you basically will then flip this out this way, stitch down that way, go around, and then go back up, and then there's a nice little pocket. When you're pressing the pocket bag, you want to press the seam allowance all towards the pocket bag rather than like this, because then you will be able to just kind of treat it as part of this seam. I'm finishing the seams in kind of a different way, where I stitch the seam, then press it flat, and then I do a second line of stitching about a presser foot away from the seam, and then I pink it with some pinking shears. If you can see that, it's just like a little zigzag line, and that's made with these shears. They've got like little alligator teeth. And I'm doing that because I don't have time to put a lining into this. This will help prevent it from fraying out. So this is one of the things that we learned in couture techniques class, so very exciting. This is a really good lightweight seam finish when you don't have time to put a whole lining in and you don't want to do anything that's more time intensive. Awesome. Thumbs up.
Hello? What are you doing? It's a good shot of your butt, baby bat. My table is a giant mess right now because I am in the middle of working on the combinations. But I just got some button covering kits so that I can finish my Christmas dress. Yay! It's mostly done. You can see it in the corner there. This is the mess I work with like every day. But I got mostly done. I had only the hems and the buttonholes to finish, and then I realized I did not have enough button cover things. I didn't have enough of the kit left to make all the buttons I needed. So I kind of like ran out of steam and left it for the rest of the day. I think I started this on Saturday and I finished up the buttonholes and the hem on Sunday. It is now Tuesday. So I'll finally be getting to finish this dress that I said would be a one-day project, but isn't that how it always seems to go? Okay, so to make some buttons, you're going to need a button kit, and it looks like this. I already took it apart, sorry. I have another one somewhere. Here we go. You need a button covering kit, you need your fabric, and some scissors, and it comes with the pattern that you need, specifically for your size, on the package. Baby Bat is in the litter box right now. That's what the digging is. Your button kit comes with instructions and a pattern for the amount of fabric that will fit into your button kit, and you've got like the button die, I guess, and then this is what you press it into, and I will go through that whole process, but for now you can literally just cut this out carefully. I'm gonna do a bad job of it, sorry. Great, so that's your pattern, and just trace that out for as many buttons as you need, and then I will show you how to use it.